stands by his earlier conclusion that the entire law is invalidated by the congressional repeal of the fines on people who remain uninsured. However, he also says many everyday Americans would face great uncertainty if the ruling goes into effect immediately. Some Republican-led states brought the lawsuit. Several groups of Democrats are appealing the ruling. We enter day 10 of the partial government shutdown with the president and Democrats at an impasse regarding border security funding. Following a lunch with President Trump, Republican Senator Lindsey Graham telling reporters he believed the president signaled a willingness to entertain proposals regarding border security.
On multiple fronts, the president's in a good mood, and he feels like he's got to deliver on the promise of securing our border, and he's very open-minded about combining wall funding with other things to make it a win-win for the country.
The president is asking for $5 billion. Democrats have offered $1.3 billion for border security without a wall. Some changes in customs and border protection processes following the death of 2 Guatemalan migrant children in less than a month while they were in U.S. custody. CBP Commissioner Kevin McAleenan on ABC's This Week.
What we've done immediately, Secretary Nielsen and I have directed that we do medical checks of children 17 and under as they come into our process.
A remote Guatemalan village is mourning the loss of Felipe Gomez Alonso, the 8-year-old boy who died on Christmas Eve. The family saying they had no idea the trek north could be dangerous or deadly. They say in recent years practically everyone has emigrated. This is Fox News.
Introducing Exchanged, Guam's first online and mobile remittance to the Philippines. Exchanged is the easiest and fastest way to send money to your family and friends anywhere in the Philippines. Download the Exchanged app or visit their website, exchanged.me. Sign up, remit, and get a chance to win a trip for 2 to Manila. Deluxe accommodations at the Belmont Hotel at Resorts World Manila. So sign up and remit now at Exchanged. Promo ends March 2nd, 2019. Conditions apply. Also avail of Exchange dollar to remit promo. Visit exchange.me for details.
Always here to help you. This island is our home. Through the years, we've been a friend to the neighbors we have known. Now we're banking on the future. Their services to choose. Bank Pacific, where others put branches, we place roots.
Every new year brings new laws. In Hawaii, they say goodbye to foam.
Businesses in Maui County cannot sell or use foam food containers, including plates, cups, and bowls. The polystyrene containers can be used for raw meats and chicken and fish, however. One warehouse business freaked out, though, asking the county for an extension, not realizing the ban applied to instant ramen noodle cups. They've got 6 more months to get rid of their stock. And 6 months is when the ban also will take effect on Hawaii's Big Island. This is an environmental move, but some smaller companies have complained about finding adequate replacement food containers. Jessica Rosenthal, Fox News.
Verizon customers can continue watching ESPN, ABC, and other Disney channels. The 2 companies announced a deal regarding programming fees just ahead of the December 31st deadline. Without the agreement, Verizon's Fios network would have stopped carrying Disney channels. Not everyone celebrates the new year by dropping a giant lighted ball.
While you might think the New Year's thing to do is freeze in Times Square, New York City, other people in other parts of the planet do other things. In Spain, for instance, at midnight, people eat 12 grapes for good luck. In Denmark, they break dinner plates in hopes of chasing away evil spirits. In Japan, they ring bells 108 times as per Buddhist custom. In Bolivia, they bake coins into cakes, and whoever finds one in a slice is in for a lucky year. And in Brazil, those hoping to find love come January traditionally wear red underwear. Eben Brown, Fox News.
Susanna Dinage was on track to become the most powerful female executive in global sports as the new chief executive of the English Premier Soccer League. For unknown reasons, she has changed her mind. I am Ann Carrick, and this is Fox News.
Hafa Tritons. This is Tito Castro, proud alumnus of the University of Guam, class of 2015, and president of the UOG Alumni Association. As a working Triton and first-generation college student, I know the value of a university education and call upon my fellow alumni, parents, and friends to make that education affordable and accessible to all during this year's G is Forgiving campaign. To make a tax-deductible donation, log on to supportuog.org by December 31st or call 735-2957 for more information.
Viva UOG!
One of the longest-running primary care clinics on Guam, the FHP Health Center, has been your convenient one-stop healthcare clinic for you and your family for many generations. FHP's highly trained and well-known medical, dental, and vision providers and their friendly clinical support team are here, ready to take care of you. In addition to the excellent care, FHP offers a full-service pharmacy, laboratory, radiology, and specialty care center in one location. FHP Health Center, our island, your clinic. Most insurance accepted, including Netcare, Aetna, and TRICARE.
Tall Tales with Bob Klitzkie is brought to you by Stanford Technology Group, STG, delivering service that can't be beat.
Welcome to Tall Tales with Bob Klitzkie, the only show on talk radio where common sense is a lot more common. Phone lines are now open at 888-TALK. That's 888-8255. And now, The Point proudly brings you Tall Tales with Senator Bob Klitzkie.
A well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of our free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. I couldn't say it more clearly if I practiced it for 3 solid days. According to the United States Supreme Court, everyone in the United States has an individual constitutional right to keep a firearm in his house for self-protection. I have opined on how the Supreme Court reached that result with a certain amount of criticism in my voice, but be that as it may, it is the law of the land, and we are going to stick with it. And as with all constitutional rights, here on Tall Tales, we champion them and do what we can to make sure that they are exercised and protected. So the first thing on our agenda for today is what we call Zemi Ikatni. So we'll come back to Zemi Ikatni. It's my outrageous bilingual backwards play on words, press the meat. So it means meet the press. But when we get to the card, I'm going to talk about somebody else has something called meet the press too. But of course, it's not anywhere near as good as the Tall Tales meet the press. But I'll get into that a little later on. The Daily News editorial for today is one of those feel-good jobs titled, Our Community Steps Up to Help with U2 Relief. While bad news usually grabs headlines and attentions, Guam had a lot of good news to celebrate in 2018. Our community's response to the devastation of Super Typhoon U2 and the Northern Marianas shows that we are ready to open our hearts and our wallets when our neighbors are in help, when our neighbors need help. In October, the eye of the strongest storm to ever hit U.S. soil passed directly over Tinian, causing widespread destruction on that island and nearby Saipan. Charitable organizations, businesses, and everyday people in the community joined together to collect monetary donations and more than 200 tons of supplies to send to the islands. From school children to grocery shoppers to leading corporations, donations ranging from loose change to $1 million were collected and goods were distributed, and so on. The rest of the article goes into our good works. And with the Post, New Year offers promise for change. Here again, on the brink of a new year full of hope and promise. Here we are again on the brink of a new year full of hope and promise. Well, I guess I missed that part of it. I am not full of hope and promise this year. As we flip our calendars, our thoughts turn to how to make the new year better than the last. In today's paper, the Guam Daily Post compiled the top stories of 2018 to help our community think about the major events of the year. Please take some time to read these stories, which are concise, but informative. Putting the stories together, we hope that you will reflect on what was done in 2018 and what needs to be done in 2019. The stories of political and social issues should motivate us to make the much-needed steps to resolve them. We also hope that you will see a thread that runs through these stories. It is a thread of community spirit, for which we are grateful. In the midst of natural disasters, our community came together. Despite fiscal challenges and political mudslinging, our community moved forward. Yeah, I got to stop here. This political mudslinging. Whenever I see editorial writers use that, I wonder, was this your first rodeo? Is this the first election you've ever observed, Daily News, Post writers, that you have to comment on political mudslinging? Now, let's define some terms. There's negative campaigning, there's political mudslinging, and there is smear campaigning. And we saw some of each in the campaign leading up to the election in November. Negative campaigning is part and parcel of the undertaking. It's always been there, it'll always be there, and it always should be there. Negative campaigning means that candidate A will say things about candidate B that would cause you to think that perhaps B is not as good a candidate as A. Candidate A has candidate B has a police record, or candidate B committed plagiarism, or candidate B did something, although not illegal, something not entirely praiseworthy. Isn't that what we're looking for when we choose people for public office? Aren't we looking for the way they, quote, behave themselves in the community? And if one of the candidates has committed bad behavior, it's all right for the other candidate to call attention to that. In fact, I think it's not only all right, I think it's kind of the responsibility of every candidate to show his rival at his worst. That's how we sort out who we want for public office and who we don't want for public office. Mudslinging. Mudslinging means digging up derogatory facts about a candidate that aren't really relevant either to his character or to the campaign. I can't think of a good example of mudslinging right now, but it kind of lives in the same place as negative campaigning. And perhaps it's just negative campaigning carried to a farther degree. And it should be judged in those terms. Now, what we did see in the last election is something that I think is wrong, and that is negative smear campaigns. Nowadays, with Facebook and Instagram and these other social media platforms, every man kind of is his own press operator. Excuse me, I shouldn't say every man, every person. They are able to publish to a much wider audience than was possible to publish to even 10 years ago. If you have a Facebook page and you come up with something that's a real whiz-bang that people are going to share and that you boost, you could achieve a pretty wide audience pretty quickly. Well, there were people in the community during the last election that understood that and were able to put together smear materials. That is, materials that were based on half-truths and innuendo and sometimes outright falsehoods, and to circulate those publicly on social media anonymously in such a manner as to have a really devastating effect on a candidate. So, negative campaigning, mudslinging, anonymous smears, not all the same thing. And the Post does us a disservice if the Post thinks we're all going to be swept into this one term, political mudslinging. Oh, political mudslinging is always bad. Well, not so. Lastly, we hope that the stories spur you to consider personal changes you would like to make. Well, one thing for sure this year, I'm not going to change Real Joe Cruz. I am not going to miss a single episode of Tall Tales. No. Yeah. Yeah. Lastly, we hope that the stories, as you were, some people have given up on the idea of New Year's resolutions as they are often broken. While we see resolutions fall through the cracks each year, we say they are worth making. And the rest is just more of this pap about New Year's resolutions. Kind of the Post becomes a self-help column, I guess. And the punchline, as we enter a new year, we wish to thank you in pursuing your goals. As we wish you luck in pursuing your goals for 2019. And we thank you for reading and supporting the Post in 2018. No blue stars today. If we were looking for self-help, maybe we'd turn to Ann Landers or something like that. But not the editorial page. Okay, then we go from there down to the card. And let's see what I have on the card today. I've got the law lecture, as usual. I've got Lou Ann Guerrero versus the Tall Tales Political Intel Line. I've got Bob versus Tom Addis Committee on Land. These are from Friday. And then I've got Chief Bratton versus marijuana. Zemi Ikotny versus the other Meet the Press. So let's start out with our law lecture. I remind you every day that we spend a fair amount of time talking about the laws of Guam and the laws of the United States and the Supreme Court, etc. And so I thought it would be helpful if we spent a little time talking about the laws of some of the states. And let's start out with Missouri. Now, actually, I think there are two states. There's Missouri and Missouri.
Why do you always say that, Bob?
Well, because if you've ever been there, you'll know that some people will tell you that they live in Missouri, and other people will tell you they live in Missouri.
Okay.
Yeah.
I always wondered why you called it Missouri.
Yeah, well, a lot of folks that live in Missouri call it Missouri. In fact, there's a story about this city slicker from Chicago who was driving across Missouri, and he got lost. He couldn't find his way, so he comes upon this old Missouri farmer walking down the road. And he says to the farmer, he says, I'm lost. Can you tell me how to get to Kansas City? The farmer says, nope, I don't know that I can rightly tell you how to get from here to Kansas City. Okay, can you tell me how to get to St. Louis? No, sir. I can't rightly tell you that I know how to tell you to get from here to St. Louis. And the city slicker says, well, you're not very smart, are you? And the Missouri man says, well, maybe not, but at least I ain't lost. That's a Missouri man there for you, right? Okay, so in Missouri, in Saco, Missouri, women are forbidden from wearing hats that might frighten timid persons, children, or animals. That seems like a pretty salutary law. In St. Louis, Missouri, it's illegal for an on-duty firefighter to rescue a woman wearing a nightgown. In order to be rescued, a woman must be fully dressed. Sorry, ma'am. Maybe that's the beginning of this Me Too movement. I don't know. While children may purchase shotguns in Kansas City, Missouri, they are not allowed to buy toy cap guns. Now, I don't know if the Second Amendment reaches to toy cap guns or not. I'll have to do some research on that. Missouri considers drunkenness an inalienable right. So if you live in Missouri, you have an inalienable right to get drunk. Okay, in Montana, it's a felony for a wife to open her husband's mail. Well, I can see the wisdom in that one, right? It's a misdemeanor to show movies that might depict act of felonious crime. In Whitehall, Montana, it's illegal to operate a vehicle with ice picks attached to the wheels. Tire chains okay, ice picks no. Yeah, and Albert lies and says, well, at least it's not misery. Okay, so I'm going to start out here with Lou Leon Guerrero and the Tall Tales Political Intel Line. There was a
You're getting a lot better at coughing, Bob.
I practice a lot. There was a release today where Can we take a break?
John Gibson, digging up history. The little boat and the loudmouth who made the D-Day landing possible. It's a saga of a bull-headed boat builder who wouldn't take no for an answer. That story right after this. Are you one of the millions who feel trapped by your Obamacare health insurance? If you are, dump it. President Trump has changed Obamacare mandates, and now you can get the health care insurance you need, not the overpriced ripoff Obama forced you into. Call Amy Yarborough, a licensed health insurance broker. She'll save you money and get you the health insurance you need. Call Amy at 817-914-5835. Amy, 817-914-5835. Now back to my story. When 150,000 American soldiers stormed the beaches of Normandy, they came ashore in landing craft built by Andrew Jackson Higgins. But it wasn't because the Navy wanted Higgins' flat-bottom boats. They thought he was just a fishing boat guy from Louisiana, and what did he know? But Higgins fought back. He dressed down the Navy brass, saying, "The Navy doesn't know a darn thing about small boats, but by God, I do." And, oddly enough, he was right. Senator Harry Truman forced a competition, and Higgins' landing craft won. Higgins scaled up his factory from 100 workers to 25,000 and turned out thousands of landing craft. General Dwight Eisenhower said, D-Day wouldn't have been possible without pushy Andrew Higgins and his flat-bottom boats. I'm John Gibson, digging up history.
It's important to have claims process that works for you. At Guahan Insurance Services, we make things simple and convenient. Same door you walk in to purchase your insurance is the same door you open to file your claim. We can't pretend that the car insurance claims process is fun, but we can promise a hassle-free and speedy recovery without any runarounds. For your home, auto, and business insurance, visit us at the Camacho Landmark Center on Marine Corps Drive in Tamuning. Don't forget to like us on Facebook or give us a call at 475-1162 or text 929-SAVE. That's 929-7283.
What are the benefits of switching to the handset payment option with GTA? For starters, you can customize a plan that matches your budget and lowers your monthly payment. HPO lets you upgrade to the latest phones whenever you want. No more waiting for a contract to end to get that slimmer, faster smartphone. Because with HPO, there are no contracts. HPO lets you design a phone plan that suits you. So join the thousands who've already switched to HPO, the most customizable phone plan on island. Limited time offer. Terms and conditions apply.
Jeff's Pirates Cove, open daily at 8 a.m., serving up hot breakfast with endless coffee and a taste of history. ladies and gentlemen. This is the real Joe Cruz from the Tall Tales with Bob Klitzkie. He's been unexpectedly called away at this time, and he wants me to let you know we'll be back after New Year's on Wednesday to do Tall Tales All For You when he's back and ready to work. So thank you for joining us. We will be back on January 2nd right here on The Point.
Information that shows you how to lower your monthly payment and get debt forgiveness. This program has proven to work for credit card debt and medical bills. Discover